They convinced my ex-fiancé to crash my new husband's family Christmas dinner for revenge. Sounds like the opening line of some over-the-top movie, doesn't it? But I swear to you, it's real. And when I tell people about it, they always ask me the same thing. Who would do something like that? Who would go out of their way to drag an old wound into a brand new life? And every time I have to tell them the same answer that still makes my stomach twist. People you think you can trust until you find out you can't. I didn't even know they'd been plotting anything. Christmas was supposed to be simple that year. My first Christmas married to Emma, my first time sitting at her family's big oak table, surrounded by traditions I hadn't grown up with but was eager to join. They did it all: homemade eggnog, stockings hung from every banister, carols sung badly but loudly around the piano. It was warm, messy, joyful, the kind of thing you see in old movies and assume doesn't happen in real life. And I was grateful because my own family wasn't exactly Norman Rockwell material, but apparently in the shadows of that perfect picture, someone else was holding a grudge. My ex-fiancée, Hannah, hadn't taken our breakup well. I'll admit I hadn't been perfect. We were young, we rushed, we thought love was enough to bulldoze through incompatibility. It wasn't. We fought about everything: money, time, kids, even what side of the bed we slept on. And when I finally called it off, she told me I'd ruined her life. Words you don't forget. Words you hope are just anger in the moment. But in her case, they became a promise. I didn't know until much later that a few members of my extended family had kept in touch with her after I broke things off. Some out of pity, some out of spite, some because gossip is thicker than blood in certain corners of my family tree. I didn't realize that while I was busy building a new life with Emma, there were still people whispering in Hannah's ear, feeding the fire of her resentment. Christmas Day arrived. I remember waking up in Emma's childhood bedroom, sunlight slanting across the quilt, the smell of cinnamon rolls drifting up from the kitchen. She grinned at me, hair messy, eyes sparkling, and said, "Ready to survive the chaos?" I laughed. I was ready. More than ready. We got downstairs, joined the crowd, exchanged gifts. Her nieces tore through wrapping paper like tiny tornadoes. Her uncles argued about football. Her mom tried to get everyone to take a group photo before half the kids disappeared outside. It was loud, disorganized, wonderful. I thought, this is it. This is what I wanted. And then the doorbell rang. At first, no one paid attention. People came and went all day. Neighbors dropping by, relatives showing up late. But when Emma's dad opened the door, the laughter died. Because standing there, clutching a bottle of wine and wearing that smug half-smile I knew too well, was Hannah. My heart dropped into my stomach. For a moment, the room was frozen. Then Emma's dad, bless him, tried to be polite. Can we help you?" Hannah's voice was sweet as syrup. "I'm here for dinner. I was invited." I could feel every eye in the room turn toward me. Emma's hand tightened around mine, confusion flashing across her face. And I couldn't breathe. Who invited her? Why was she here? And why today, of all days? That's when I saw it. A smirk on my cousin Mark's face. The kind of smirk that says this is going to be good. And I knew. My family. They had done this. They had convinced her to show up, probably telling her it would be hilarious, maybe even cathartic. Revenge, wrapped in tinsel and fake goodwill. Emma's mom tried to intervene. "I'm sorry, but this is a private family dinner." Hannah tilted her head, her eyes locking on me. "Oh, but I am family, or at least I used to be." The room went silent. Kids shifted uncomfortably. Emma's brothers glanced at her, then at me. My chest burned. I finally found my voice. "Hannah, you need to leave." She smiled wider. "Why? Afraid I'll tell them the truth?" Emma's hand tightened again. "What truth?" she asked quietly. And there it was, the hook, the bait Hannah had brought with her. She didn't just come to crash dinner. She came to explode a grenade in the middle of it. I wanted to scream, to throw her out, to erase her from the scene like a bad dream. But Emma's family was watching, and more importantly, Emma was watching. The woman I had promised honesty to, the woman who deserved to know everything, not in Hannah's twisted version, but from me. That was the moment I realized Christmas wasn't ruined. It was a trial by fire, and if I wanted to keep the life I had built, I had to walk through it. So I took a deep breath and said, "Fine, tell them." Hannah blinked, surprised. She hadn't expected me to call her bluff. And that's where I'll pause the story for now. Me standing in front of a room full of people, my ex-fiancé smirking like the devil, my new wife gripping my hand like a lifeline, the smell of turkey and pine needles hanging in the air, everyone waiting for the explosion. The air in the room was so heavy I could almost hear people's heartbeats. Hannah was standing in the doorway, that smug little half-smile plastered on her face, holding her bottle of wine like it was an award she'd just won. Emma's fingers dug into my hand so tight I thought my bones might snap, but I didn't let go. "Go on then," I told her. "Tell them." Her smile flickered for just a second. She hadn't expected me to stand tall. She thought I'd crumble, panic, beg her not to speak. But when she realized I wasn't moving, she tilted her head and walked right in, as though she belonged there. Emma's dad stiffened. Emma's mom started whispering, "Oh my goodness," under her breath, but no one stopped her. It was like everyone wanted to see what would happen next. "You all should know," Hannah began, setting the wine on the counter with a thud, "that your perfect golden boy here isn't as honest as you think. He left me." Her eyes locked on Emma's like she was daring her to flinch, but not before he lied, not before he kept secrets. My heart raced. This was it. The grenade. "What secrets?" Emma asked, her voice low, steady. God, I loved her for that. She didn't shout, didn't panic. She just looked at me, waiting for me to step up. Hannah laughed. "Oh, don't look at him like that. He won't tell you, but I will. He told me he wanted kids with me, promised me. And then one day, he just decided, no, never mind, he didn't. He wasted my time, years of it. Do you know what that feels like? To build your whole life around someone who lies to your face about your future together?" The room was silent. Somewhere in the background, a kid dropped a piece of Lego. I could feel Emma's eyes burning into me. She knew Hannah wasn't lying, not completely. And that was the point. Hannah wasn't making things up out of thin air. She was twisting half-truths into weapons. I cleared my throat. Yes, I told her I wanted kids. At the time I thought I did, but then I realized we were barely holding our relationship together. We couldn't agree on anything. I changed my mind. Not because I didn't want kids ever, but because I didn't want them with her. And that's when I knew it was over. Gasps rippled through the room. Hannah smirked, triumphant. Emma kept staring at me, her grip loosening slightly. Hannah wasn't finished. "And that's not all. He told me I was the one. He gave me a ring. He made me believe. And then he threw me away like trash. And now he gets to sit here in your cozy little family, like none of it ever happened." She turned to Emma's mom. "Do you really want this man around your grandchildren one day? A man who makes promises and breaks them the moment he gets bored?" Emma's mom's face had gone pale. Her dad's jaw was clenched so hard I thought his teeth would shatter. My chest tightened. This wasn't just Hannah lashing out at me. This was her trying to poison the well, to make Emma's family see me as a fraud. I stood up straighter. "You know what, Hannah? You're right. I hurt you. I led you on longer than I should have. I should have been braver, should have ended it sooner instead of dragging it out. I own that. But don't stand here and act like you didn't want the same fantasy so badly you ignored every red flag. We were both wrong. We both stayed too long. And I'm sorry for my part in it. Truly." Her smirk faltered again, because apologies weren't her ammo. She wanted me defensive, angry, ashamed, not calm, not steady. And as for Emma's family, I turned to face them all. "You deserve to know everything. You deserve honesty. But you also deserve context. I'm not that man anymore. I made mistakes. I learned from them, and I fought hard to become someone better. If you think less of me because I was once engaged to the wrong person, then fine. But don't let her bitterness write my story for you." The room was dead quiet. Emma looked at me, her eyes glistening, and I couldn't read her expression. Fear? Doubt? Pride? Maybe all three at once. Finally, Emma's dad spoke. "I think that's enough," he said firmly, looking at Hannah. "This is our home. You're not welcome here." But Hannah didn't move. She crossed her arms, chin high. "Funny. He didn't tell you everything. Did he tell you about his family? About how they begged me to come here? How they wanted me to ruin this little picture-perfect Christmas because they hate that he moved on without them?" And just like that, she dropped the real bomb. The room erupted. Emma's mom gasped. Emma's brothers muttered. Emma herself turned to me, stunned. "My family," I whispered. Hannah grinned, venom in her eyes. "Oh, you didn't know? Guess they kept that part a secret. Mark called me, your cousin, said it'd be funny. Said you needed a reality check. And he wasn't the only one, your aunt too. They all wanted me to remind you of where you came from." My stomach twisted. I scanned the room and saw my cousin Mark sitting at the far end, smirking, raising his glass like he was toasting me. My hands curled into fists. "Get out," Emma's dad repeated, his voice harder now. "Leave." This time Hannah left. She picked up her bottle of wine, winked at me, and sauntered out the door like she'd won something. But I didn't feel relief. I felt sick, because she wasn't lying. My family, my own blood, had orchestrated this. The rest of the night was awkward. Conversation limped back in, starts and stops. The kids tried to keep playing, but the tension hung heavy. Emma's mom shot me looks of pity. Emma's dad watched me like he wasn't sure what to think. And Emma herself stayed quiet. Too quiet. When we finally got in the car to go home, she didn't say a word. I drove in silence, gripping the wheel, my mind racing. At last, Emma spoke. "Is it true? Did your family really invite her?" I swallowed hard. "I think so. Mark definitely did. He's always hated me. And my aunt, yeah, I can see it." She shook her head. "Why would they do that? Because they don't like seeing me happy. Because I broke away from them and they can't stand it." Emma didn't reply. She stared out the window, and the silence between us felt heavier than Hannah's presence ever had. That night, lying in bed, I realized something brutal. Hannah wasn't the problem anymore. She was just the weapon. The real problem was my family, the people who should have had my back but instead had schemed against me. The next day, I called Mark. He answered on the second ring, voice dripping with fake cheer. Well, that was a show, huh? You think this is funny? I growled. He laughed. Come on, man. Lighten up. It was just a bit of fun. Fun? My voice shook. You ruined Christmas. You humiliated me in front of my wife's family. And for what? A joke? Not just a joke, he said casually. A reminder. Don't forget where you come from. Don't get too high and mighty just because you married into money. And there it was, the truth. Emma's family wasn't rich, but they were stable, functional, kind. All the things mine weren't. And Mark hated me for it. I hung up before I said something I couldn't take back. But the damage was done. Over the next weeks, Emma and I had long, hard talks. She admitted Hannah's stunt had shaken her, but what cut deeper was the idea that my own family had set it up. If they'll do that once, she asked, what else are they capable of? I didn't have an answer, so I made a decision. I cut them off. Not just Mark, not just my aunt, the whole toxic branch. No more calls, no more visits, no more pretending. I told Emma, if they can't respect us, they don't get to be part of our lives. It wasn't easy. Holidays were quieter, birthdays lonelier, but they were peaceful. No ambushes, no sabotage, no knives hidden behind fake smiles. Just me and Emma, building something real. Months later, Hannah tried again. A message popped up on my phone. Bet she still doesn't know everything. I didn't reply. I deleted it. Because by then I'd finally understood. Hannah didn't matter. My family didn't matter. The only thing that mattered was the life I was building with Emma. The life they'd all tried to wreck. And every time I look at Emma now, every time she smiles at me, every time we share a quiet dinner or laugh about something small, I know they lost. Because the best revenge isn't shouting louder or playing dirtier. The best revenge is living a life so full, so joyful, so untouchable, that no amount of bitterness can reach it. They convinced my ex-fiancé to crash my new husband's family Christmas dinner for revenge. And for a moment, they thought they'd won. But all they really did was show me who was worth keeping, and who I was better off without.